Hello once again, I'm Lonnie,
I'm Mark.
and we're Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux out of Hixson, Tennessee, and this is
Comic Book Malarkey.
Um, really, just the subject of this one is new comics with a focus on the new Generation X series, and I will say that I have been pleasantly surprised because really, I'm a major Jubilee fan. I've been
Right.
looking forward to this book more than any book this year. But as luck tends to happen, usually it's a poorly written book, or the art isn't good, or there's some problem that causes my favorite book to just flunk out. Like, I'll sit there and read it religiously, but everybody else is like, eh. But
Right.
luckily, I'm hearing that this book is doing very well. I think they sold quite a few copies of number one here, and
Yeah, but they sold like 7 of them to you.
Yeah, that they did. I got, what was it, like?
Like you got all the alternate covers,
it was
right?
like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
It was actually, I think, the original, 5 more alternates, and then I came in and got another copy of the regular number one so I could redeem the digital out of it.
You're a sad, strange little man. All right, no. But yeah, I have to agree with you. Read the first 2 issues. I have my pluses. I have my minuses. Of course, I'm liking this new take and this new characterization on Jubilee.
Kitty Pryde appeared a little bit in it.
Kitty Pryde appeared a little bit in it, so of course that talks to my comic crush. But and of course my minus is I've never liked Quentin Quire. I've never liked him as a character.
Here's the thing. During the riot at Xavier's story, where he first really became a big thing,
Right.
wasn't a big fan of him. But where I have kind of grown to like this character is during the Battle of the Atom. They went forward in time, like I think it was Young Beast, Magic, and I think maybe Young Iceman. They went forward in time to try to see where this brotherhood had come from. And when they pop up in time, Jubilee is the leader of the X-Men. She's like full vampire. She's like gray skinned. She has some kind of weird mark on her eye, like some
Okay.
kind of tattoo or something. And Colossus has like the big Fu Manchu going on. And
I'm gonna have to read that one.
Quentin is actually the Phoenix.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's coming. The Phoenix always attaches itself to some sort of telekinetic.
Yeah, and in the new Jean Grey book, which I haven't read yet, I've only had it a few days, but the new Jean Grey book, she, in the end of number 1, had a vision of the Phoenix returning. And
Oh, it full on came to talk to her.
yeah, and then in number 2, according to the cover, she is there with all the strong telepaths, like trying to investigate the Phoenix, and Quentin is there.
Yeah.
So he's getting around in some of the books right now.
See, I personally like if you're going to throw because he's a telepath and a telekinetic, okay. And if you're going with the younger version of the X-Men, if you're going to give me a telekinetic, give me Julian back, give me back Hellion. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but back when they did New X-Men, they had a character named Julian Keller.
Yes.
And he was by far my favorite out of that entire set. And the fact that they had that love interest between him and Laura for the longest time. And, it was... And he was the hot shot. He was the one that was all hot-headed and tempered. But he was the one that I was always telling Laura, we don't kill.
Yeah.
We don't kill. But yeah. And I'm kind of interested in all these new characters. Like Nature Girl. Like, I really want to know, because you've read 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, where'd she get the skunk?
I
Like,
don't
because
know.
she just pulled it out of nowhere.
But
Is that her power?
These characters were in that new X-Men Academy X and the 2004-ish New Mutants reboot.
See, I don't remember them, and I will admit though that until I started working with you on this, I've kind of sort of fallen out of comic books. So you've kind of gotten me back into comics and reading them again. Most of my knowledge is pre-2000s, so I've got to catch up. And so I wasn't really familiar with them, the kid with all the eyes, and like the Nature Girl chick, and of course you got Morph. I know who Morph is.
Well, it was like whenever whenever Xavier went public during the like E is for Extinction, Grant
Right,
Morrison run,
right.
when he went public, all these mutants from all over flooded into the school. Like, oh, here's a place for us to go. So they go, and then over the next couple of years, they put out a New Mutant series. It lasted like 12 issues, and then immediately the next month they started a new #1 called New X-Men Academy X.
See,
and it was
I
basically a lot of these characters that are in Generation X right now, but they didn't really have a leader per se.
See, I read the so there was the new X-Men series that they came up with that came out of the X Academy. That's the one that had they had broken them up into different groups, and each group had a different teacher who led them, and then eventually it broke down to there was an attack on the school by the Purifiers, and there was only just one team of the new X-Men, and it was like Hellion, Spark, Laura, X-23, Mercury, the big Santo, the big rock guy, Rock Slide, which I love him. And then they had the blind the girl that could turn herself into dust, Sandstorm, the Sandstorm chick.
Her name at one time was actually Dust.
Yeah, Dust, that's her. Yeah. And then the blind chick that could see the future, and a couple others. And that series, I've got that whole run of that series, like when they fight Nimrod and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, that was like
really
Second
cool.
Coming.
Yeah. And so that was really cool. But like I never saw any of these people. So like I'm really interested in who these guys are. And the new guy, like the new guy that just got to the school, I'm kind of interested in him and what his power is.
The story's going to be kind of centralized around him.
I'm thinking, yeah.
He's going to be like, the readers, the new readers' introduction to the character, kind of like Jubilee was in the animated series.
Right. So he's the new Jubilee. Are you going to get a crush on him?
God, no.
Okay.
But yeah, this Generation X story has been really good so far. I'm sure you were probably a big fan of the part where Shadowcat put her foot through the guy's ass.
Yep.
And threatened to solidify.
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
Anything with Shadowcat I like. She's been my favorite since.
The only thing is, like, I love Jubilee as a character. There's something really weird about the interior art of her. She looks a little... It
does look a little weird. Like that one scene where she was yelling at the guy and it was just her face.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at that scene too and I was like, what's up with her face?
Yeah, I mean, they got her like long hair and stuff. She almost... I think they're maybe trying a little too hard to make her look older.
They might be. Which, I mean, it makes sense because at this point in time she's a mother.
And she's probably like 19, 20.
And is there something going on between her and Chamber?
No, they've always been friends. They're buddies from the original Gen X days.
Right.
And another thing, Roxy, the girl,
right,
that is like
the prism chick,
with the spiky hair,
the one that's a big crystal.
There was a part in the all-female X-Men series that happened. This was probably 3 years ago, something like that. It was towards the later issues of it, before Secret Wars happened and all the books rebooted and all that stuff. But there was a part where Roxy was talking to Jubilee in like the mess hall or whatever, cafeteria. She's like, oh, I've kind of got this crush on this other girl. And Jubilee's like, well, you need to just, sometimes you just got to act on it. And like Roxy like leans across the table and kisses Jubilee. And she's like,
wait a minute. She's like, wait.
Okay.
That's somebody who's missing out of that group. Pixie.
Yes. Where?
Pixie. Oh, so we got to go back to. I'll have to give you.
We're talking about like 2006ish.
Yeah. There was an issue of that which I'm gonna have to get you to read if you didn't read it, where Pixie goes back home after. So somewhere during the new X-Men story arc, like they wound up in limbo, and Belasco took a piece of her soul, and now she's got a soul dagger, like Alana has a soul sword.
Does she still have a? Does she still have her wings?
She still got her pixie wings. Yeah, she still got her pixie wings. Okay. She still got her powers to do. She throws dust on people and it causes them to have hallucinations.
Okay.
One of the cool scenes with her was they were talking about her and they were talking about how Wolverine was running battle simulations with the team. And the next scene, it's like the big, it's all the teachers are sitting there, and then Pixie comes flying by, and then Wolverine comes running behind them, going, "Damn unicorns!" And because when she hits people, they see things. Like, and like she cast it on some demons, and they were like, "Why is the bunny laughing at me?" I mean, it's they see
Holy
weird
crap.
things. It's really weird what they see. It's like some sort of psychedelic thing. But I liked her. But I'm gonna have to get you to read a story where she went back home, and there was these demons invading her town, and it was just after she got her little soul dagger, and she's a badass. Like, she scares me. Kind of a badass.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at some of that stuff.
And then like when they come back and they start doing the Utopia thing, like Impact, like there's this one scene. We're way off topic at this point, I know. But she's one of these new X-Men thing, and I really want to see her back in this series. But there was a scene with Empath. Empath was running around, and Empath was laying everybody out. Like Empath laying out Nightcrawler, he's laying out Colossus, he's laying everybody out. And Pixie comes up and just stabs him in the head with the soul dagger, which breaks his mental hold. It doesn't do any physical damage, it does mental damage. And just stabs him in the head with the soul dagger, and then lands on her feet as he goes crashing. And she looks around at all the other bad guys and goes, "Who's next?" And you're just like, okay.
Now I was a big fan of the character, and I wasn't a really big fan of what they did in Days of Future Past, the movie. They actually killed her off.
Yeah.
Because they like had her wings in like a unit or something.
Yeah.
She was one of the many that had gotten killed in the interim between First Class and Days of Future Past.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
pretty rough.
But so Gen X2 is pretty good. What else is good out there? Cable looked pretty good. What I
Yeah,
read.
Cable's pretty good. I started reading it, and like, for whatever reason, I quit reading it and went to bed like 5 pages before the end of the book.
It ends really interesting.
He's jumping from time to time, chasing after an individual that I don't know who it is yet.
They haven't revealed it yet.
But
Like
they-
I got all the way to the end of the comic book, and they don't
Okay.
reveal it. All you get is these guys with flaming katanas that like fight him, and that turns out to be rather interesting.
Yeah, he did catch up to some people and was fighting some people, and then I quit reading.
Right. So there's only a couple more pages
Yeah.
after that. You're good to go.
Cable's pretty good. Like all the X-Men books right now are really good.
I have to agree.
I hate it because like the series Faith by Valiant Comics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a real big fan of it just because of the plus size female lead.
Right.
I read the entire miniseries that came out last year, and now they are at a point where they made it an ongoing, but just a little bit after that is when I got away from comics,
Right.
and so we kind of went forward in that, and then when we got sponsored here and I came in and started buying books, I basically caught up, but I have like issues. I think they're at like number 17 right now, and I've got, or maybe not quite that high, but I've got like 1 through 4, and then 6 through 10, and then
Ooh.
12. I've got
So
little
you're missing
gaps
5,
there,
yeah.
and I haven't brought myself yet to read those books because I don't want to miss part of the story.
Right.
But I'm still getting the current books.
Yeah, that's like I've got the entire run on the new ROM. So IDW is doing a new cover of ROM, which was originally a Marvel character, and somehow IDW landed the rights to him, which makes me happy because just seeing ROM back in print again is awesome. And then also getting him to see him fighting alongside G.I. Joe and the Transformers was even more interesting. But like I'm missing issue number 4.
We actually
So-
we get Image books to review, and haven't reviewed this week's yet, but Youngblood, the new Youngblood
Mhm.
series that just came out last month with the number 1, I reviewed that one for Image on the website UntitledNerdNetwork.com, by the way, that we don't talk nearly enough about.
There should be a link in the comments. You should put a
yes,
link in the
yes,
comments.
yes, we'll do that. But Youngblood was a very good reboot. They had a Youngblood comic way back in the
Right,
90s.
yeah, way back. It was like that during that 90s break off where like everybody broke off from Marvel and went and started Image.
Yes. Youngblood was great. I was very impressed. But you can tell there were a lot of throwbacks to the
To the
stuff.
original series?
You didn't have to read it, but I'm sure there were a few inside references there that I didn't get
Right.
because I didn't, read the original. It's a really good book. Trying to think of what else. Like, Marvel and DC, the Button storyline just wrapped up in DC.
That was kind of interesting.
Did you read all of it?
Yeah, I read all of it, and now they're actually moving into like in the next issue of Flash, Reverse Flash is back again.
Yeah.
So I'm really getting confused there. Let's see here. Green Lantern and the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps is actually pretty good recently.
Don't read anything DC outside of the Batman and the Flash Button. I need to get into that stuff because I've actually got an order for a.
Oh my goodness.
I've actually got an order for a third print
What are you doing all the way over here? So, for those of you who don't know, my girlfriend is here. She's off camera.
You want to come over here on camera?
Come on. Come on. She's apparently bringing us donuts, looks like.
Oh, there's seriously donuts here?
Holy crap. Oh, my goodness. We just talked about you earlier and how you're going to be mad at me because I forgot about the time gem in Doctor Strange. Because we were talking about all the Infinity gems and the fact that we were like, we've seen this gem and this gem and this gem. I was like, we've not seen the time gem. And some guy that was in here buying comics, he was like, Doctor Strange. I was like, my girlfriend's going to beat me. Give us a second. We're going to wrap up here and I'll be right with you. Okay?
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, there's I say this every time we do a video.
Can I plug her?
Huh? Yeah,
yeah. So you can always check out, if you're interested in who my girlfriend is, you can check out Kinsey Kiddo Cosplay and Creations on Facebook, and she's also got her own webpage. She does perler bead art, all comic book and geek inspired. So if you're a big Captain America fan, you can order a Captain America perler bead art from her.
Here, we're gonna turn the camera around real quick.
Yeah. And she also has her own YouTube channel now, so you should check that out too.
Yes.
But anyway, so sorry, shameless plugs.
Like I say, every video, it's a good time to be a comics fan.
Yes.
Because there are seriously 36 good quality books out right now, at least.
I have to agree. Yeah, I mean, Marvel's really starting to pick back up again, especially since they're doing that. Like we were talking about, that throwback to the 90s X-Men.
I'm a fan of Secret Empire, even though I've not read the latest book. I have it, I just haven't read it.
I need to read it too. And then, like I said, DC is starting to come out of their New 52 funk.
Yep.
Because I hated the New 52 stuff, so they're starting to come out of that with Rebirth, so I'm happy with that.
And they've also just announced Doomsday Clock coming out in November.
Yeah, which I'm kind of, that's going to be where it's teasing very much that they're going towards this whole Superman Watchmen, or Superman Dr. Manhattan clash, which they've been hinting at the Watchmen being involved in the new Rebirth universe since.
Well, they had the Rebirth special, and I've actually got that ordered here, and they're supposed to get it to me probably sometime in the next couple of weeks. So I've not actually read the beginnings of Rebirth, but I'm going to soon.
Yeah, so I picked that up and read it, and it was really interesting. And they pretty much say that, you know, between Flashpoint and Rebirth, somebody stole 10 years of time out of the DC universe, which is why everybody's memories are different and everything like that. And they're very heavily hinting that it's Dr. Manhattan, which, you know, that kind of leans back to, in Watchmen, you know, Dr. Manhattan said he was going to go out and create a universe. What if he created the DC universe?
Yep.
Because if you look if you look at old school Green Lantern stuff, where they're talking about the Guardians looked back to the beginning of time, there's a giant blue hand forming the universe. Now, I'm not sure Alan Moore meant that, you know, to tie that in, but you never know. Because Alan Moore wrote a lot of Green Lantern. Actually, I think he wrote Ganthet's Tale. I need to check that. But if Alan Moore wrote Ganthet's Tale and then went off and wrote Watchmen, that would explain some things.
But I will say, if you're a fan of the Walking Dead universe, like the TV show, the book right now is knocking it out of the park on a weekly basis. They just last month suffered a very, very major character death.
I need you to pick 10 issues of that for me to read. Since you read the Beta Ray Bill thing, I need you to pick 10 issues of that for me to read.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and I will be more than happy to discuss.
Yeah, I could probably do that. But let's see, like Image, Valiant, we've got a lot of. There's a really good series.
IDW has some good stuff.
I'm trying to remember who created it.
Who, what, where?
The series is called Spencer and Locke.
That one I haven't heard of.
I can't remember the company that makes it, but it is basically an adult-oriented Calvin and Hobbes.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
This detective carries around this little stuffed panther, but he sees it as a life-size panther with a detective jacket, and they're going around solving crimes like he's a detective,
right?
And he's like, you know, I guess his mental instability or whatever, he sees the panther as his partner, and he goes around and solves crime and stuff. And there was actually a part where they
have to check that out.
They find this woman who has been murdered, and the guy goes to her apartment to look around, and nobody knew it, but she had like a 6-year-old daughter hiding in a closet. And he finds her, and he's like, oh, you know, what's going on? And you know, she's like, oh, I don't want to talk. And he's like, well, maybe you can talk to my partner here, and hands her the stuffed animal.
Right. He
thinks it's an actual partner talking to her. She sees the stuffed animal, and she opens up to the stuffed animal and talks about it.
Oh, that's
what
cool.
happened. It's a
I'll have to check that out.
very good it's really an adult-oriented, like mature title.
And I'm kind of on a detective kick anyway because I'm rereading the Dresden Files. So, and
But
I really need to start picking up the graphics for that.
Like I'll be honest. I picked it up because it was a giant cat with a dude.
Of course.
And I read number 1, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is an amazing book!" And then just this past week, number 2 came out, and I picked it up. Haven't read it yet, but I'm kind of behind on my reading list. But yeah, excellent book. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're Marvel, DC, Valiant, Image, some smaller independent company. There are literally dozens of good books worth your money reading right now. So
definitely go to your local comic book store, pick up something, talk to the people who own the store, people who work at the store. They'll be more than happy to recommend things for you. If you walk in here at Infinity Flux, you talk to any of the people here, you'll be like, hey, what's good to read? Don't just take our word for it. Take their word for it.
Yeah.
They're in this store every day. So definitely come in, ask them. They'll be more than happy to show you anything over on the shelf, anything in their back issue section. They'll let you know what they've got
I will
to
say
read.
nothing beats the smell of a comic shop.
I have to agree. This place does smell. And after the remodel, this place even looks amazing.
It does not.
And again, if you're looking for a Wonder Woman kick, definitely come out and check it out. They've got a big, huge spinning rack here of Wonder Woman stuff. Got to plug the store. They sponsor us.
It's like Jason back there. Jason, you want to come on camera?
No. Jason's eating.
I ask him every time we're on camera.
Are you?
Like, no, I'm good.
But definitely come down and check these guys out. I mean, they run a really good shop here. Is that anything else?
No, we're good.
Well, we're good.
Just wanted to really talk about the state of comics, the new stuff coming out that's come out over the last couple of weeks, and new comic book day every Wednesday. So
right here at Infinity Flux in Hixson, Tennessee.
Awesome. You're doing a really good job of plugging.
I've got to plug the store, man. They're the ones that are like helping us, move along, and aren't they helping with the auction thing that you're going to be doing soon?
Haven't announced it yet.
You should probably announce it.
Well, we kind of have, but I'm not going to do it
right
right
here.
You
got an event on Facebook.
Huh.
All right, well, look for it. It's coming. There's something coming.
Well, we have an event on there already.
Okay.
It's actually, check it out. It is Forever Friends fundraising. Like
Forever.
F-U-R-E-V.
F-U-R-E-V.
Super Mario Kart. So we're going to do a video pretty soon, in depth, talking about what that's going to entail and everything.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on.
No,
your
we're
toes.
good.
I just wanted, I'm trying to get the brand out there. I'm the salesman. You got to forget I'm the salesman.
It's completely my fault because I forgot to really mention it. So
that's why I'm here.
But it's going to benefit the Humane Educational Society out of Chattanooga. So
it's always good to help the fur babies.
Yep. So anyway, that's it for this episode of Comic Book Malarkey. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Mark.
And we are Untitled Nerd Network, brought to
here.
you by Infinity Flux out of Hixson, Tennessee. Drop by and see them. Every Wednesday is New Comic Book Day.
Have a good one, guys.